Greetings everyone, this is Patrick from Patrick Comptus Photography. I've been getting a lot of questions about something that I recently posted on my blog, and I also did a podcast on it, which you can find on my blog as well, about fall color. And one of the questions that I had received was, how do you get a nice mirror image? Well, the easiest way to do that is basically to ensure that you get up really early and there's no wind out there, and you try to find the lake or the water that you want to get the mirror image, but that's not always possible. So I'm going to show you a way to do a mirror image here in Photoshop if you don't have those particular conditions present. So let's get right to it. Open up Photoshop here, and I've got a fall image I took, and I like the sky, but I don't necessarily like the foreground and everything like that. So I wanted to get that mirror image look. Here's how you can go about doing that in Photoshop. I'm going to duplicate the layer by hitting Control J or Command J on a Mac, and that's going to put a duplicate of that over here on its layer. And then I'm going to grab the selection tool, the square, and I'm just going to drag that down here where I would kind of like that reflection to be. And that looks pretty good right about there. From that point, I'm going to hit Control J or Command J on a Mac, and that's going to duplicate just that layer I selected. I'm going to hit Control J or Command J again. That's going to make a duplicate of it. Now what I'm going to do is hit Control T, and I'm going to right click anywhere inside that particular layer, and I'm going to flip this vertical. I'm just going to drag this selection down, and I'm just going to kind of line up the images to where I like it and where I think it looks relatively good and like a mirrored reflection. And that right there doesn't look too bad. Once you get it where you want, you're going to click enter or just the arrow up there, and there you have a mirror image. Now you can leave it like this. There's nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly fine. But I like to add a few more finishing touches. So with that layer selected over here, the bottom layer that we just flipped, I'm going to go into filter, and I'm going to choose camera raw filter, and that's going to open that bottom reflection here in a second. And what I'm going to do with that is basically, just so it doesn't look the same as the top, I'm just going to lower the exposure just a little bit on that. And I'm going to click OK. From that point, you can see it darkens it up a little bit. I think that makes a nice little differentiation. But to take that even further, if you like, and this is completely optional, I go to blur and I go to motion blur, and I add a little bit of blur in the water. I make sure it's straight up and down vertical at 90 degrees, and I click OK. So it gives it the appearance a little bit more of water. And that is how you make a mirror image. I might do a few other things on this image just to kind of get it to where I would like it, but that's how you do the mirror image. So just to refresh, you're going to basically duplicate the layer, draw your selection, duplicate the layer again and yet again, and then you can drag it down and line up the things, and you have your mirror image, and you can do whatever you want from there. So I hope you guys found that little tip and tutorial helpful. You can use it on anything you like to create a mirror image. And for more ideas, keep sending them to me, and I'll keep producing these little videos for you. Thanks a lot. Be sure to remember to follow me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and visit my blog for other helpful tips and tricks. Thanks.